is understanding Gmail, labels, moving, and filters. So that's a lot of information. So Jolene's on the back end. She's going to be sending me some emails from Trainer 5. I am in Trainer 9 today. So my hat is Trainer 9. So I'm not under my own work account for privacy reasons, obviously, but I'm in Trainer 9. So when I'm saying my account today, I'm in Trainer 9. And Jolene is going to be Trainer 5, and she's going to send me lots of emails today to practice labeling, filtering, moving, and archiving, and all those things. That's probably why you're joining today, to get your email organized and so much more. So what is labels? First of all, we got to compare to the Outlook world. The Outlook world, they would call them folders, okay? We need to kind of get away of that vocab. We can kind of see the similarity, obviously. The labels are on the left-hand side. The folders in Outlook are on the left-hand side. But we have to consider labels quite a bit different than folders. In Outlook, folders, you only have one email in one folder. That's not how Gmail functions. You can have one email in multiple labels, and it's the exact same email. It's not a copy of the email. It's the exact same email. So once you understand that, you'll kind of get that point. The other way some people describe labels is like sticky notes. You can have a sticky note, right? You can say this falls into this bucket, this falls into this bucket, this falls into this bucket. And that's labeling, or using a sticky note to label that email. So once we understand that labels are a lot different in the sense of the actual vocab than actually a folder, it'll make more sense as you function and use Gmail more efficiently. One of the things that we talked about in our beginning Gmail training is our system labels. I just want to quickly recap. Our system labels are such as inbox, starred, snooze, important, all these that are right here. And if you attended the beginning Gmail training, we talked about how we can move our system labels up to the top, because we want to be able to find our trash more effective, easier than under the more button, right? So you'll notice in my particular layout, all my system labels are at the top. So how do you change that? And also, where is all the labels? As well as you can see them here, but where is the other place to find all your labels? Or maybe you want to reorganize them somewhere else. That's right, it is in your settings. So we recall the gear in Gmail is settings. You can go to the gear and you'll click on, you'll click on see all settings. Okay, I'm trying, 1 second. See all settings, and then it's going to go default to the general tab, which we focused a lot about the general tab in the beginning Gmail. So we're not going to focus on that. So if you want to go back, the beginning Gmail training is posted on the Google Help training page. And I strongly encourage, if you have not messed with your settings, to go back to that beginning training. But one of the tabs in your system, in your settings, is labels. So let's go ahead and navigate to labels. You go to labels and you'll find that your system labels are all, if they should be, recommended, again, use my years of experience, all your system labels should say show in bold. That means then they will appear on the left-hand side on the top above the more button, okay? So that's just a recommendation. So that is, I mean, obviously you can choose show if unread if you want. But I strongly encourage, especially if you're kind of new to Gmail or you kind of struggle with Gmail, take my recommendations just to help you use it more effectively. So use the bold, it should be bold, and the show word should be bold. That's just the easiest way for me to describe it. So get the show word to show bold. Also, you will find underneath the system labels, you will find categories, which we discussed in the beginner. But what we're going to focus on is you'll notice underneath those two categories, or two sections, I should say, you have an option to create a new label. This is another way to create the labels in the masses if you wanted to. You could just keep on creating labels inside your system or in your settings as well. So as always, you'll find in Google Land or Google Workspace, you can always do things in multiple ways. And I don't have the time to show you everything and how you can do it this way, and this way. We all determine the way that we like and have become a creature of habit, and that's just the way you do it. So I'm just going to give you two ways on how you can create a label. You can go over here underneath and create a new label. So today I'm going to create a new label, Trainer 5. I like to have labels by people. That's just my preference. Now that is not really a best practice. Maybe that's just how I do it. So under my own account, I have it by the TAMS list, by my Google Teams list. I have it by people. Some of you might have it by category. It doesn't matter. You can do it however way you want to. But for today, I'm just going to actually put a name to a label. So when I get an email from Trainer 5, I'm going to create a label, put that label in there, or put that email in that label. And then what we'll do next is actually create a filter. And any email that goes in from Trainer 5 will go directly into that label. So that's kind of the fast forward version. We'll get there. We're not there yet. So my first label name is going to be called Trainer 5. Now, before we go too much further into this, you can nest labels. So some of you could actually nest it under a label. So you can have, if you had a parent label, maybe Google Team, and then these are my list of my members. You could do that. You can do sub-labels under a parent label. You'll find that I hardly even go to my labels. So you can do that if you like that. And if you live and die by the Outlook way of folders, you can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and not do that because I don't even have a parent label to nest it under right now under this account. But you can do so. Please be aware of that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a label. So that's one way how you can create a label. So sometimes if you want to create a quick infrastructure is what I would call it, you could quickly go to your settings and do it that way. This is also where I want to point out, this is where you can edit your labels in the masses as well. You'll notice once you have a label created, at the bottom, you have the option to even hide it if you don't really use this one anymore. You can remove it if you completely don't need it anymore. And then you can always edit this as well. So you have options here as well under the settings. So just a preference on how you want to do that. You can do the exact same things inside the Gmail interface as well. But I find this, if you're doing things in the masses, it's kind of better to do it in the settings. It's just easier to navigate. So again, if you were actually in your Gmail right now under your settings, you would see all your list of your labels that you have already created prior to this training. With that, that's one way to always know where your list of labels are. Also, let's go back to your inbox. Now you will see that I do have a brand new label on the left-hand side called Trainer 5. So I do see that. Now, as I mentioned, Google has many ways to do things. What's another way to create a label? You can actually click on the More button. The More button is your friend. You click on the More button and you will see underneath the More button on the left-hand side, there's an option to create a label. So we're going to go ahead and create a second label. I'm going to go ahead and create a new label. You get the same pop-up window that we just saw in the settings as well. And in this label, I'm going to go ahead and call it Google Updates. Again, I could nest it if I choose to. Now that I have a label, I could put it under Trainer 5. But for this example, I am not. Oh, excuse me. Spam call. Do you guys get those? Sorry. Nest and label. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And now I have two labels on the left-hand side. Now, one thing I do is I like color. I like color in my Gmail. And one of the things is you'll notice the default color of these labels is gray. Boring. I'm going to stick with the cyclone colors. I'm going to go with red and gold today. I'm going to go ahead and change this and make it, I'm going to click on the three dots. Now, if you remember from beginning Gmail training, 3 dots in Google land means ... Google's got, fill in the blank, that's right, more for you. Google's got more for you. So when you see 3 dots, always click on it because Google's going to give you more options. That's just a quick way to remember it. So you click on the 3 dots after you hover over the name, and you will see that you have all these same options that we just talked about inside of settings. So you could show if unread, hide, remove the label, add a sub-label, which means it underneath the parent label. You can edit. We're not going to practice all those because that would just take more time of your valuable time, but we're going to hit some of the highlights. I'm going to go ahead and change the label, and I'm going to go ahead and make it red. I'm going to actually, I want to make the Google Updates yellow. Otherwise, it's going to screw up my notes here. And I'm going to go to Trainer 5, and I'm going to make it red. Now, I kind of changed my script, so I'm going off a little bit, but we're going to add another label to do, and I'll explain why we're going to do that one later in the priority inbox training, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new label, and I'm going to call it to-do list. And this time I'm going to make that one blue. We'll explain more of that later, but I just want to get it created while we're creating the labels. So now I kind of see like I'm getting an infrastructure of labels on the left-hand side, okay? So now that we have a new label, Jolene on the back end is going to, oh, she's already on top of it. We've never done this before, have we, Jolene? So she has sent me an email with the instructions to label me. This is normally you don't get an email that says label me, but this is how we do it for training. You'll notice I have an email that says label me. So I'm going to go ahead and open it just so you guys can see it. It's got an email, label me. Yes, we like our Bitmojis. It's just kind of a fun way to express it, easy to remember what I'm supposed to do. But I got an email that says label me. Okay, so as always, Google has more ways to do something. You can do it multiple ways. Before I go any further, as I open that email, you'll notice that it already has a label on there. It has the inbox label. This is important. The inbox is also a label, okay? So keep that in mind. It's an actual label as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and select Trainer 5 and put that label on it. Now, some of you may have the buttons. If you want the text, we talked about that, changing that in our settings in beginner. But I find even as an advanced user myself, I like the buttons to say, I like the text to refer what I'm going to do. So otherwise, you're going to click on the label icon. Okay, this is hard to know. Most of you maybe just have the label icon. It'll be in the same location. It's just not going to have the text display what I'm doing. But I even find sometimes those buttons just kind of confusing if you're new, especially to Gmail. I always would suggest changing your your buttons to text, and that is in the beginning Gmail training. But right now I'm going to click on labels, and this is one way you can do this. I can click on the labels, and now I can select multiple labels for this one email. Notice it's check boxes. That's a tip. Check boxes usually mean you could do multiple selections. So I could actually, in theory, put this in the Trainer 5 label, the to-do list label, the Google updates, and so much more, and I click apply. And that would go the same email in multiple locations, okay? But I'm just going to just simplify for right now. I'm going to go ahead and just select Trainer 5. That's one way you could do that. Notice now I have the Trainer 5 label on there. So what does that mean? I'm going to go back to my inbox. You'll notice now that Trainer 5, that email that I received called Label Me, has the bright red Trainer 5 label on there. So where is this email? Okay, this one email. This email is in my inbox because obviously I'm in my inbox. It's also going to be in my Trainer 5 label. Let's check that. It is. Where else is that same email? Correct. All mail. You all said all mail. I know it. It is in all mail as well. Because remember, definition of all mail is everything except spam and trash. All mail is everything but spam and trash. Okay. So that same email is in 3 places. Just this one email. It's not a copy. It's the exact same email. Now, the other thing I can do is I actually can add a second label to that same email. Okay. Why would you do that? Maybe it's like 2 categories for you. Maybe this email is Trainer 5 by definition, but she sent me a Google update. It kind of falls into 2 categories. That would be my mindset, right? So I really kind of would like it also in my Google Updates label. Now, you can also drag a label onto an email. So I just drag that email to that particular email that I want it to also be located. You can't do this in Outlook. This is totally different mindset. So I'm going to go back and we already know it's in those 3 locations, but do we trust that what I'm saying is correct? Is that email also in Google Updates label as well? The answer is yes. So now you can see it is in that label as well. Okay. So it's important that we got the concept. Once we know they're truly like sticky notes and labels where we can have multiple labels on one, it kind of gives you a whole new outlook, no pun intended, on how Gmail functions. So let's go back to the inbox. So what happens when I want to remove that email from inbox? What's going to happen? In reality, Jolene had this aha moment. It actually removes the label inbox, which also means archive. Removing it from your inbox is by definition archive. So I could click on this email. I'm done with this email. I no longer really need it to take up real estate inside my inbox. I like to have a clean kitchen, clean inbox, and nice and organized. We all do. I'm done with this email. I already kind of have it organized. I've already put the labels on it. I know where to find it in my labels, which we'll talk about searching in the future. But that is just one, maybe a way that you like to find emails by your labels on the left-hand side. Okay. But I don't want it in my inbox. So now you need to understand the definition of archive, which we talked about in the beginning, but now we're implementing the label portion of it as well. So I could click the archive button and it's now out of my inbox. So the only place it's not anymore is in my inbox. It is still in my Google Updates. It's still in my Trainer 5, and it's still in my All Mail. Awesome, right? Okay. So now I'm just going to go back and just go back to Google Updates. I'm going to move this back to my inbox just so you show you. Now, the other way you could do that is if I'm opening up the email and just to understand the concept, I'm done with this email. I don't really need it in my inbox. I could click the archive button. That's the same action item as what I say, remove the label inbox. Now it's no longer in my inbox. So we have to understand what archiving is and understanding that it actually, by definition, it removes the label of inbox, which entails removes that email from your inbox. That's really important. Once you understand what that does and where it's stored, that gives you like a huge aha moment. So that's where I get a lot of like, I didn't know that. And so I hope that makes sense. And if it didn't make sense, please reach out to me because that's the big component regarding Gmail and how archiving and how you organize your inbox. Now, just want to point out if this is still something you're struggling with, this is some more information, again, on understanding labels. And I pointed out that we really focus on archiving a little bit, how it functions different than trash. I did direct you back to objectives in the beginning Gmail training. So with that, Jolene's going to send me, she's probably on top of it, she's going to send me a Move Me email and a creative filter. If she could send me both of those, we'll get started with those two topics. Move Me and creative filter, which she probably already has. Let's see how this goes. So we're going to focus on the other options you have up here while she's sending that is you'll notice when you click on an email, you have all these options up here. Again, I can apply the label to-do list, trainer, and Google Updates that way as well. Okay. And I can apply. So notice now that one has 3 labels on there. Okay. So now it's actually in my inbox right now. It's in the Google Updates, to-do list, Trainer 5, and so much more in All Mail. Why is the All Mail so important? Because yep, she's on the roll. You'll notice when you search, which we'll do search here in a minute, is when we do search, what are you searching by default? All Mail. Okay. So we'll talk more about that, but that's why it's so important to understand how the functionality of Gmail works. Now, we have to remember we're all creatures of habit and we're used to doing what we're used to doing. And in Outlook, a lot of times what you would do is actually pick that email and I want it to go into this folder, also known as move to, right? You would move this label to that. Okay. When you actually do that, then you're actually moving it from your inbox into that label. Okay. So it is kind of like an archive concept, right? We're taking it now. I no longer want it in my inbox. So I want to move it to a particular location or label in this case. So if you like that functionality and that's the way you do it, then I would recommend probably doing a move to. But you'll find in the next step we do after move to is filtering, and it just saves you so much more time. So I have this email called Move Me. All right, I want to go back to the way I used to do it in Outlook. It makes sense to me. So I'm going to move this email out of my inbox into a particular label. So you're going to find the Move To button. And now you'll notice you only get to select one thing this time. Okay. Now it still functions as a label in a sense, but it's just the concept. You're actually removing it from your inbox into a different location. So if I choose the move me into a different label, I just want to make sure I have the right one. I want to take it to Google Updates. Okay. So now notice, you probably didn't notice it, but what happened, it's no longer in my inbox, but I did put it in my Google Updates. Notice it is there now. Okay. So that's kind of the same concept that you're used to in Outlook. You'd move it to a folder. It's out of your inbox now. You feel better about it, right? So that's one way to do it. The other way you can move files is you always can right click on a file and you have the same option to move to. Again, moves it out of your inbox. And then you also have label as. So you have both of those options that we just talked about. If you're a right click person like myself, you can right click and you will see all those different options there as well. Same functionality, just a different way to access it. You'll notice other abilities, which we briefly talked about in the beginning training as well. Now, what's the best part that we're going to do next is create a filter. Now, let's just compare it to Outlook. Outlook uses the same concept. They just call it rules, okay? A rule and a filter functions exactly the same. You organize your email as it comes into your inbox. So as an email comes in, we can automatically tell where or what you want to do with that email. Some of us might want to put a label on it directly right away when it's inbox. Some of us might want to skip our inbox and go into a particular label. Maybe we want it to be starred. Maybe we want to do something completely different to each label, each email. That's up to you. I don't know what you might want to do. I'm just going to show you the functionality and how you create a filter. The easiest way that I find to create a filter is to actually open up the email, especially if you're new to a job. This is exactly what I did. I would open up the email. I'm like, I work with Trainer 5 a lot. I just want to have that organized as it comes in. That's just how I function. So I have this email from Trainer 5. I work with her all the time. She's amazing. I need to have a one spot location for her. So what I usually do, the easiest way is open up the email, and then you will find the three dots or the more button, depending on what you have. You will click on that and you will see an option to filter message like these. So what it does is just breaks down the search for you. So you don't have to even think how you want to create this filter. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the more button. And if you don't have the more button, it's the three dots that you see. And click filter messages like these. Now watch what happens. You'll notice it's a search. It just created a search for you. It pretty much created the search. It took the criteria of the email and made it a search. Awesome. Notice it already determined it's from a particular person. I will give you a caveat. At times when you're using like this particular feature, be careful on your group list. Might not come out exactly the way you want. So no worries. You're just going to tweak it. Maybe you want it to have a certain subject line. It is just making a search is all you're doing. And then you're going to hit the fancy button, create a filter on there. So right now it did the work for me. It says from Trainer 5. I could customize it, but again, I'm just giving you the concept. You'll learn more searching. And then once you learn more searching, you'll be able to make some fancy rules or filters, excuse me. So now that we have from Trainer 5, I want to create a filter, any email that comes from Trainer 5 that it has a certain label on it. So I'm going to go ahead and click create a filter. Once you do that, you have all these options. You have the option to skip the inbox, also known as, that's right, archive, right? You could skip the inbox and archive it. Be careful on that. You have to know that you're doing that, okay? Maybe on more of your your Facebook notifications or something like that, that you don't care to see it, but you still want it to go into a Facebook label or something. Mark as red. I don't know why you'd use that too much. Star would be used. I have used star. So Corey is my boss. So any email from Corey, I kind of want to make sure I don't miss it, right? And so I'm going to put that star on any email from Corey. I'm going to put a star on it. That's going to kind of go to my system label starred. Plus, if I'm using, that's right, priority inbox, I might really like it. But in this case, probably the most used concept is just to apply the label. Now, this is what I love about this. If I didn't have a Trainer 5.1 right now, because maybe I'm brand new to the company, I could just create a label on the go. So don't worry about creating a label ahead of time. You could just go ahead and create one on the go. But I was organized for this one time. I'm going to go ahead and select Trainer 5. Now you have other options that I'm not going to talk too much about. You could do a template, which we talked about canned responses templates in the beginning training. Important, mark never is important, category, I don't ever use that one. But the one I don't want you to miss is apply it to the 30 matching. Now, again, this is a trainer account. I don't have as many emails, but think about it. If you're going into your email and you've never set up a filter in your life, today you could quickly put that label on every single email by that person in a matter of seconds, because it's going to click on this apply filter to the fill in the blank matching conversations you have with this search. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because that's going to save me a lot of time. So now any email from Trainer 5 will now get the label Trainer 5 on it. But watch what happens after this. I'm going to go ahead and create a filter. I'm going to go back to my inbox. And now we should probably see, you can kind of see now, I'm just going to do a quick search here from Trainer 5 just to give you, and trust me, notice if I search from Trainer 5, and now they all have the label Trainer 5 on it. I did not have to go back in time. And also every email, because I created that filter, is right here in my Trainer 5 label. Now, I've created the filter, but that's great that it fixed the back ones. That's awesome. So why I'm going to show you where all your filters are stored, Jolene's going to send me a brand new email that has not been part of my inbox yet. And you're going to see that it's going to automatically put that Trainer 5 label on it. But wonder if you make a mistake or you need to adjust the filter or the rule. Good news, you can, because I make mistakes. So I want to know where are my filters stored to fix this filter, or maybe even add a new filter in a different way. As always, more than one way. So I'm going to go to the gear, and I'm going to go to see all settings. And you'll notice you have a filters and blocked addresses. And you will see that filter I just created from Trainer 5, apply the label 5, and you will see that you can either delete it, which I'm not going to. I could edit if I make a mistake. Maybe I didn't quite get the same criteria that I wanted. Maybe I should have added a subject line, and I want to make that one slightly different. But you could, you can also create a new filter right here as well, which actually, what does it do? It just brings you searching. So we're going to talk more about searching here in a minute, and you'll see how it all kind of ties together, and it gives you this huge aha. So now what's happened is I think I have a new email from Jolene, which is Trainer 5 today. And I do. And it says, I did it. So if you see this email, I did it. This just came in at 1:32. So this was after I created the filter, and look at it, automatically put that label Trainer 5 on there. How cool is that? So now we'll learn about how to kind of clean out your inbox later, and this is going to make it so much easier because it's automatically putting that label on there. So that's really cool. What I want to show you is that over here you will find some really good resources on filtering. This video right here, I always kind of stock him. He has some really good ways to show you how to filter too. So again, if that was too fast for you, definitely check out that way as well. He pretty much does it in a similar fashion and going from there. So, and there's more resources right here regarding filtering. As long as you understand a couple concepts, filtering organizes it as it comes in. So whatever action you want it to do, it will organize it. You have to tell it by searching for it in a certain way and then hitting the create a filter concept. So search, and then once you do that, you'll just create a filter, and your filters are now stored in your, that's right, settings, and that's where you can adjust them if need be or delete them, okay? And then you also get that great option to click that magic little button at the bottom to match it to that criteria and apply whatever rule you decide to put on it, and it'll automatically do that for all your past emails. So that really is really, really powerful. So we have quickly gone over objective 1, which is understanding Gmail, labels, moving, and filters. We're going to move on, and we're going to understanding stars in Gmail. We briefly talked about this in beginning Gmail, but we're going to just dive into this a little bit deeper today. Understanding stars in Gmail. So let's go ahead and do that. In the meantime, Jolene's going to send me an email to star me, and I'm going to remind you where those are, where your stars are located if you don't have stars located or set up. So under your settings, under the gear, see all settings, you have the option to add stars. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's very similar to flagging in Outlook. So under your general settings, you have all these options to set these stars. Now, I kind of find it, you go past 4, that's just too many in my opinion, right? But you could have all these options added. I could click all stars, and all these options are ways to give visual indicators and search indicators on what that means for you. For example, yellow could mean semi-important, medium important. Red means, oh my goodness, urgent. You know, whatever. Green, whatever fits your reasoning, right? So you can just do this. Notice whatever order it's in is the click that you're going to do. So if you click once, it's going to be a yellow star. If you click twice, in my case, it's a red star. If you click 3 times, it's going to be a purple star. That's up to you. You can adjust this. So I could do it this way, or I can make the blue one be my 3rd star. All I'm doing is dragging and dropping and customizing it the way it fits you. I don't know how you have it, but regardless, I strongly recommend to try the stars if you are a visual user. It definitely helps it out. Plus, you have capability of searching by stars. So I made a change. So in settings, you do have to save changes. So Jolene sent me this email that says star me, okay? I'm making a conscious decision. This is something I want to star. Now, we have to understand starred is a system label. So you do have an option over here, a system label, which means part of your Gmail native app. It's not one that I created personally. It's you all have a starred label. Every single one of you have one. So starred by definition means any of those funky little designs, it has something on it. So I already have 2 emails that are starred. So some people use start as a to-do list, right? If I start, I need to go back to it. It could be important to you. I want to use it as a bookmark. Many people use it different ways, but you have to just determine how you're planning on using that start functionality and know where to find it and how to use it the way you want to use it. Okay, so we have to know it has a system label, start. That's one option. So when I'm going to go back to the email box, and I'm going to open up this email, make a decision that I want it to have a red star, because a red star means something to me, okay? Now, I can open up the email, and I could go over and find that star. And if I want to be red, in my case, it's in the 2nd order of my settings. So I have to click once, twice in a fast way, right? Quick. 1, 2, it's red, okay? If I change my mind and want it to be yellow, I just go back and click on it once, okay? If I want it to be blue, I think is my 3rd one, just click it 3 times, okay? Now that's one way to star it. The other way you can star it is you could actually, over here in your list of emails, you can actually star from here. This is kind of where you would probably see it in your Outlook, your flags. So I'm going to click on it twice, and now I have a red star. So it's starred. That's all you need to know. It's starred. It's using that indicator. So now this star me email is in my starred system label. See, it's right there under star me. So now this email is in my inbox. It's in the starred system label. It's in my trainer 5 one, and it's in my all mail. If I can't find this email, the problem's me, right? It's in 4 locations, right? Plus, we haven't even talked about searching. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So now the other thing you can do is actually, if red means something to you, you can actually go up here and says has red star. I have now just quickly searched for all my red stars. Same thing, I could go up here, and if yellow is important to me, I can find all my yellow stars. Now, I'm not going to go over every search operator for this, but I promise you I have a resource for you. This is a post that I made on the Google Currents page. And if you notice, has red star is the example I gave you, but don't worry, I have an entire post on search operators on how to search for all those different types. So if you like that concept and you love the idea of a different color, different icon means something to you, you have a quick way, and has equals red star is a really good way, or has equals yellow star. However, it is colon, sorry. But definitely check out that. So just, again, giving you tools. The purpose of this particular immediate training is to give you tools on ways how to organize your email. I can give you my ways and how I do it, but it might not apply to you. My job's completely different than your job. So just giving you the ways that you want to organize it, and it makes you happy. But Google gives you tons of ways to make your Gmail life efficient. You just have to kind of know how you want to use it. Stars is one of those. So the other thing is the next thing. This is one of my favorite tips. And the thing is, Gary, the Google guy, if you guys remember, we're here when we went live, loves the inbox type that I'm going to talk about next. So I'm not alone in this. And I know Jolene can speak in the same way as well. We all use priority inbox. So we're going to discuss that. This is something I'm going to encourage you to at least try. The beauty of it is you can try it. And if you don't like it, tomorrow you can change it back to the way you have it. It does take a little time to adjust because we're such creatures of habit, but it's worth a good-hearted effort to try priority inbox. Okay. So what is priority inbox? Well, I'm not going to play a video in front of a YouTube or on a live stream. That just doesn't make sense to me. But you can actually watch 2 videos if you want to learn more from other people. Like I mentioned, Gary, the Google guy, agrees with us that priority inbox is a great way to go. There's a YouTube and a resource there for you. And this is a cute little cartoon style video on priority inbox as well. So it just kind of gives you an idea. The thing is priority inbox has been out for quite some time, even back in my school days when I was teaching at a school district. So it's been around for a long time, but a lot of people just don't know about it. And so I strongly encourage you to check it out. So let's dive into it. So we're going to learn more about priority inbox. So how do you even change it? And what inbox type am I on? So right now, I believe I'm on default, but let's just check. How do I find out what type of inbox type I have? So you would go over to your gear, and this is where you can actually do it in your quick settings, which we discussed in the beginning training. I was right. I'm on the default, which is probably where the majority of you fall, is under the default settings. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to encourage you to try these other options. Any of these other options are probably a little bit better than default. Okay, so if you want, you could try important first. You can try unread first. That's a strong idea, right? If it's unread, you haven't dealt with it. So there's nothing wrong with unread being at the top. Starred. Now that you're like a star expert, you know that I might really want to like use that star feature. It should be at the top, right? And there's other ones. Multiple inboxes is one that Jolene kind of toggles with sometimes too, depending on your work, right? So, but for the majority of us, I would strongly encourage you to try priority. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and then I'm going to click customize because I do need to do some things on the back end. So I'm going to go to customize, which will take me to my settings, to my inbox tab inside my master settings. So I could have just went there as well, but I wanted to show you how quickly it is to navigate to different inbox types. So give yourself some grace, try some different ones out. There's really no wrong one, but again, as I mentioned, just test a few things out and you'll find the best way to organize your Gmail life. So now that I've changed it to priority, notice then we have some things we need to decide on. So I'm going to give you my recommendations, but this is where, again, you can customize it. There's 4 sections you can have in your priority inbox. You can have important unread, starred, you can have a label. You can customize 4 sections the way you want it, okay? So I'm going to kind of do it the way I do it, but notice though, you can select section 1 could be any of these. It could be important and unread. It can be important. It could be unread. It could be starred. It could be more options. Any of those sections could be any of those options, okay? So notice you can actually select a label as one of those. I'm just going to kind of leave some of the default. I like important and unread. I'm going to leave that alone. I like my second one to be starred. And the third one, I'm going to actually kind of customize it to fit my needs. Some of us, we have to think 90% of our emails is a to-do list, right? Jolene, can you please proof this email I'm sending out? Hey, Jolene, hey, we need to meet on this and talk about this project day. It's a task for Jolene. Jolene does the same thing to me. We need to review this and do this, right? We're sending each other communications that need to do something with it. So it becomes a task or to-do list. Now, we will talk about Google Task as another option to organize your to-do list. But again, it's what you want to do. So my goal is just to provide you options. So you can go and actually select a label. Maybe could be my boss's label. Corey, I don't want to miss any of his. I want it part of my inbox type. I want it to be right in centered of my page. I know what I need to do. Or I'm going to actually use one of the labels that I've already created, which I did on purpose, was the to-do list label. So I'm going to go ahead and select to-do list label. So now I have 4 sections: important and unread, starred, all to-do list, all means the to-do list label, and everything else, okay? The rest of them, I'm just going to quickly go unread items in the first section. Yes, if I read them, should be important. Need to put it there, okay? I am not a reading pane fan because I don't come from the Outlook world. But if you like the reading pane, which gives you the preview, this is one of the ways you can turn this on, which you could do in the quick settings as well. I'm not going to adjust that. I'm not a fan, but please know that you can do that. I strongly recommend to show markers, the important markers, because if it's important, it gives it a little yellow indicator. I like visual indicators. And I like to don't override my filters. My filters, my preferences. Don't do it. I don't need your help on this, Google. It's my preference. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. Now my inbox is going to look completely different than the default view. But no worries, I can quickly go back to the default if I don't like it. So I'm going to shrink this up so you can quickly see the 4 sections here. So now notice I have like almost 4 different inboxes. So I'm like, well, that's not going to help me now. 4 inboxes to organize? No, not really. Really, the most important one is going to be the important and unread, because those are the ones you haven't read yet. They're indicated as important, right? I will go to my to-do list when I'm ready to go to my to-do list, and everything else truly means not really important to me. So why do I really be? And this is how I kind of clean out them all at once. One of the many ways you can do it. So let's just kind of, I'm going to add a, let's look at my to-do list here. I'm going to add just a few so we just can see it. Okay. Not sure why it's not showing. There we go. Let me refresh here, give it a new look here. Why is that not showing there? It should. Okay. Alrighty. So in here, I have my important and unread. So there's my 4 sections. So important and read. These are my important unread messages. So if I decide I open this one up, the thank you conversation, okay, I'm done with that. I don't even hit archive. I'm just done with it. I'm moving on to the next one. You'll see here in a minute, once it refreshes here in the back end, it will actually go into everything else. It will end up here. Then it kind of cleans out my important and unread. If I have to take no action on it, I'm in a hurry. I don't really want to clean out my email right this minute. Okay, so I'm going to refresh just to give you guys my, not just going by my word here. Notice that thank you email that I opened up is now down here. Okay, it's right here. It's everything else. It's now, there was nothing else I need to do it with it. Now, if I wanted to go back to it and decide, oh, I made a mistake, I need to follow up on that, I could mark it as unread, and it's going to go back into my important unread. You also have all to-do list. So if I click on all to-do list, then it's going to pull up. Not sure why that is not working exactly the way I want it. One moment. It should show me the 3 messages. It's being special right now. It's because I'm training. Patience. I'm selling myself, not you guys. Patience for myself. All right, I'll get off that for a minute while it's thinking. So with that, you can just, I don't know how to explain this. It's kind of a hard thing to train. You just have to trust me on this one. The priority inbox just really helps clean out what's really important, right? Sometimes things that we get are just not, and it just kind of doesn't go there, and it's unread, and it's, you know, whatever. It's important and unread. The important indicators are these little icons right here. These don't have the yellow ones, right? They don't have the little yellow icon. So that by definition, you don't think it's important, or Google doesn't think it's important. Now you get to override what is important. So if I feel that this Google Calendar update is important, all I have to do is click on that. And the next time I get that Google Calendar one, it will fall under important, and it will then it will go up to the important and unread. Then you also have your starred ones. Now, these are things that are in your inbox. And so you'll see here, then this email right here, starred me, is in that particular section. I think I know what my problem is. Bear with me. There, that's why. The all to-do list is not, the reason why those were not showing there is because they were still falling under the important and unread. Until I clicked on them, then they were now in my to-do list. So all the labels under my to-do list are here by clicking on that label, but the inbox is anything that's in my inbox, and it has the label to-do list on there. Not a very good example, not just explaining that very well, but just try it out. And again, if you change your mind, watch the other 2 videos. Like I said, if Gary the Google guy thinks it's good, I think it's good, and Jolene's good. That's kind of giving you, like, it's a really good way to organize your email. And if you don't like it, don't worry. All you have to do is go back to default in a matter of seconds. Your email's back to the way you like it. But if you get a lot of junk, a lot of reminders that you just don't even look at half the time, so now you've got this messed up email with your default. All these emails that are halfway not even important are here. It's cluttering your most important. So if that doesn't get you a little bit to think about it, try it. Just try it. And again, change it back if you don't like it. So you don't have to put that all to-do list or that label in there. That's just an extra bonus if you want 4 sections. You can change it whatever you want. The other thing is too, is notice you have 3 dots next to each section. So you can actually customize it. And let's say I want to quickly change this to unread. Maybe I don't want it to be important and unread. I wanted to change it to unread only. That changes my view right away. It's a way to filter your email right away. The other thing is I can go back and change it to important and unread. I can go down here to everything else, and I can quickly archive all visible items. If it's everything else, it's everything else, right? So I could quickly archive, and we know what archive means now. It means remove the label of inbox and take it out of your inbox, right? And so how cool is that to remove that many emails at once that you know it just is everything else? So keep that in mind as well. And you can always increase, show up to a certain amount and show more messages. So my challenge to you is to at least give it a wholehearted try to try priority inbox. And now probably the reason why most of you are here is, and that's great, we have a half hour left, is we're going to focus on searching. So in the Google Doc that I have provided for you, we're doing objective 4, understanding searching in Gmail. And the first advice I can give you is search no longer worrying about sort. Okay, a new mindset. We want to be better searchers and not always think we have to sort. But Google's even accommodated those types of users that love to sort by offering search tips and so much more, which we'll dive into. So we're actually going to, in the next exercise, do 10 different searches. Basic searches. You don't have to be this wholehearted, huge expert in searching. You'll be able to find your emails with these 10 tips. Okay. So we're going to walk through some of these as well. Julian, I can't remember. There might be a few more other ones in the drafts. If there is, can you send those? I'm not sure if there is. If there is, go ahead and send them now.
There are not. Do you want me just to send some?
We'll see. I think we're okay.
Okay.
Maybe I did it already. Okay. All righty. So we're in our inbox and we are going to search for an email, right? We do this daily, right? I'm going to be honest. I bet some of you, if not many of you, do the following. You go up here and just type a keyword. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. However, you want to be better at it, right? And so I'm going to give you some better tips. So this is great. You can do that. Google has now provided you search tips. I hope you've noticed those. But if we're doing that, we're kind of doing ourselves a little bit of a disservice, right? So we're going to teach some new ways to be more efficient with searching, okay? The first thing I want to point out is before the search tips came out, you always had an option to search by clicking the drop down. Now it's a search option key, which just makes it a lot harder to say. So you'll probably catch me say the drop down. But in that search box, you have a drop box or a box that comes down, a pop-up box that just asks you to fill out some fields. This is all you really need to find an email. More than likely, you know who the email was from. You might know the date. That's a little hard. I don't remember the dates, but more likely who it's from. You might have a keyword, right? So you would type in from whoever the email is from. I know I got an email from Jolene, and I know it might have had a keyword something in there. I don't know. Hi, sounds like a good idea. Let's just see if I find one. But if I didn't find one, right? But that's pretty much all you pretty much know. A keyword and who it was from. Okay, that will probably find at least 70% of the emails that you're looking for by just going to the drop down and filling out the field. That alone is 10 times faster than sorting and looking and scrolling. Okay, but when you are searching in that box, you have to know something, where and what you are searching. So notice in that box is the same criteria that you type will also fall into where you're searching. By default, you're searching all mail. Do not think you're just searching your inbox. You can change that, but by default, by just typing up a word up there, you're searching all mail. And what's all mail again? Everything but spam and trash. So you know you're searching a lot of emails, right? So just be aware of that, okay? That alone will help you, okay? So let's start with our first 10 searches. Our first search that we have today is just doing the drop down like we just briefly did. I'm looking for an email from trainer 5. Okay, I'm going to just do it kind of old-fashioned way. I'm going to go ahead and type in, I know it's an email from somebody. In this case, in my demonstration, it's from trainer 5. I'm looking for an email from trainer 5. So I'm just going to type in, and you'll notice it pulls up your contacts. I don't even have to type in the entire email address. I get started, and there it is. So the email is from trainer 5. Going to hit search. Well, that's still quite a few, right? So then I could actually narrow it down. I think it had something to do with review was the key word. Review was the key word in my document. I'm down to 3. Okay, but I am searching all mail, right? Remember, I am searching all mail because this first one is in my inbox and these 2 are in my all mail. Okay, so is this one as well, but we're not narrowing the search on where we're searching right now. All right, let's go to search 2. Let's clear it. Search 2. Now, you always kind of know what you're looking for. So I'm kind of telling you what I'm looking for. It's kind of hard to do this sometimes. I know I'm looking for an email from trainer 5 in my mind, and I know there was an attachment on it. True story. We all know that. Like there was an attachment on that email. I just don't remember details besides that, but I know who it was from. So now I'm going to go up here in my inbox. And again, I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to type in ocio.training5. And this time it has an attachment. I know it has an attachment. I'm going to go ahead and search. Okay, so let's look at the visual indicators. Notice now, every time I put something in that advanced search box, it also gives me ways to start learning search operators. Notice from : is a search operator. You might not have known that, but now you do because every time you fill out in that advanced search, it helps you learn those search operators. It's reversible. Or I could type in the search operators and it will then populate in that advanced search. So it's like multiple ways you can do this, right? So now you'll see from trainer 5 has : attachment. Awesome. If I remember, it might have been a PDF or might have been, I don't remember. I think it was a PDF. Well, I could do file type : PDF. Probably a little more advanced. I don't think I'm going to do that. But Google's got my back. They got search chips up here. I know it had a PDF. Look at all these options I can choose from the search chips. And it's actually narrowing it down for what I currently have, right? So I'm going to select PDF. I'm down to 1. Now look, you see then it's still searching my all mail. Okay. Isn't this really in reality sorting, but 10 times faster? I'm sorting by all this information, right? Next search, I'm looking for an email with a certain subject. Okay, that might be important for some of you. I could do subject equals move me is just one of my subject lines I'm looking for. Subject : is a search operator. Move me was the subject of that email, remember? Now, I just want to point out, as I told you, it's reversible. Notice the subject has move on there now. Okay, so I have an email right here with the subject move me. I have a few of them because I've used the same concept before. I can actually narrow it down. Maybe I'm looking for one a little bit more recent. I can select it older than a week. I'm looking for, I'm sorry, older one. Or the other way around. I could say anytime, or I can do a custom range. So you have a lot of ways to quickly narrow that search down for you. The 5th search is I'm actually going to search inside a label. So you can actually if you click on this label, Trainer 5 is an example. I'm clicking on Trainer 5. So I know I might have a label that's got tons of emails in it, but I'm looking for something in there because I did such a good job organizing all my emails into great labels. There's many of you like that, right? And I know it's in that label, but I still can't find it. So now I'm narrowing my search down because now I'm only searching in that label. A quick way to do it is clicking on that label, or you can always type up label : and the label name. Okay, either way, it's going to pull it up, right? So I'm in label 5 right now, and I'm going to now type a keyword after that. So I'm just going to type in the word filter. So I'm actually narrowing my search way down because I'm only searching in that one label. And now I'm going to type in the word filter and see what I get. So look at, I'm no longer just searching in that all mail. I'm searching I'm searching all mail, but has the label Trainer 5 on it. Same concept, right? Same location. So that really narrowed my search down. Okay, I could have just, like I said, I could, just to be understanding, if I don't click on the label, that's fine. I could just go ahead and type in label : and the label name. So I'm gonna clean this up. And I'm gonna type label Trainer 5. And now I can just type in, see what I can find, a keyword. Huge time saver. Let's do one of my favorites, because I come from actually a Mac world where they use Entourage, which is similar to Outlook. A lot of times in my previous life, I would like to know what I sent. What did I send is more what I'm looking for sometimes. We could go into our sent and search here. We can click on our sent and search for the criteria. I don't like that extra click. I don't like to click. It's just not something I like to do. So what do? I actually like to type better. I will do an email or a search operator saying from me to somebody. Now I just pretty much from : me is what I'm actually searching in my sent, because I sent it, right? Me. And then I went one step further and went to. Who did I send it to? I'm actually even narrowing my search down. So now you can see the search operator from me, looking, it's reversible, right? From me to Trainer 5. And I'll be honest, this is how I search a lot. To and from, because I know who I sent it to. And then I type in a keyword, whatever that keyword is. You know, I'm like you, I'm in the same boat. Google, if I search the word Google in my email, that is not a good search for me, because my signature has the word Google in it, right? I mean, so I understand, like, I'm not like, there's certain keywords that are not going to be great, but I kind of know when I sent it, to who I sent it. And now I kind of know, I have these search operators that just make my life 10 times easier. These search chips to make my life 10 times easier. Okay, the other one that I use a lot too is I'm going to type in calendar. This has probably been my favorite search chip fix. Oops, if you spell it, doesn't matter. I got it wrong anyway. So I'm just typing the word calendar just to bring up calendars. But how many calendar invites do you get? And it just bombards it when you do a search. It like if I typed in even Jolene in my search, I got like how many calendar invitations are inside that search. I don't care to see those. I don't want to see those. Those aren't important to me. I click one little magic button and it removes all those calendar invitations, which is not what I'm looking for. So I just click on exclude calendar updates, which would be a calendar invitation. And now it will remove it altogether. Okay, so like any invitations back and forth, it would do that. So let's just go back to my inbox. Let's just see if I have any calendar updates. This account doesn't have very many, probably. Let's type in the word invite. There's one. Okay. So I typed in the word invite. It's just a little slow here today. Now, this would be an example. You can see this is a meeting invitation right here. Invite's usually in a calendar invite. So this is an invitation. I don't care. This is not part of my search. I want to look for something more particular to my search. And now I can actually click on exclude calendar updates. And I'm going to remove all those calendar invitations from there. As you can just see, it did. And that can really alleviate junk in your so-called search because you don't care about those calendar invitations. Let's do a search with an attachment again. This time I just have a keyword. I don't remember who it's from, but I remember we had an attachment, something about a smile. That's just an example that I put in there. I have an attachment that has the word smile. Could be financial report, could have been whatever. Fill in the blank, you know it had that keyword in there. So now I know it had an attachment because it was an attachment. So I'm going to choose the search chip has an attachment. And I remember it could be an image, it could be a document, it could be any of those. In this case, I remember it was a Google Doc. And now I got this one. It says document shared. I have this one. These are obviously a little bit older, but this is the one I'm looking for because it's the more recent one and so much more. Okay, so notice these lovely search tips can really narrow it down. And even if the search tips can't give you exactly, we're still kind of got a large amount of data we're looking through and still haven't quite got what I'm looking for. Narrow your search down. If this is kind of getting you stuck, the beauty is just click on the advanced search and add more criteria. I don't think I could have written those search operators for you. Has an attachment or has drive, has a document smile. Not something I would even do. So that's what the search tips are really helping you by breaking that down. Okay. Then you might know, oh, it's within the last date within the last week. Search for that. Or I'm just searching in my inbox because those other ones are old. Now I'm down to 2. So just if you get stuck, go to the drop down and select and figure out what you might be looking for. The other way you can, this one I have used because people kind of do list a lot. They share you a document, which I love because they're collaborating, right? But a lot of us probably sometimes rely on our Gmail to find those documents that have been shared to you instead of going to our shared with me in Google Drive. We'll talk about that in Google Drive training. But we still are creatures of habit, and including myself. I still sometimes do this just because I remember it was just recently sent to me. I will go up to my Gmail and do has drive. And that will actually bring up anything that was shared to me. So you can see all my shared documents or has a Google Drive attachment to it. So that kind of break it down. And then if I knew the topic, smile, it's just another way of doing that. Has :drive. Many of us kind of rely on our Gmail to find those email. There's no Google Docs or Sheets or whatever been shared to you from Drive instead of relying on our shared with me. This is one of those workarounds that you are looking inside your email. Just type in has drive with the keyword that you think was in there, and you're probably going to find it. And then you can obviously narrow it down by the type of document it was. So this is the next one, and we're almost time up, but not quite too bad yet. So the one question I always get after this training is, how do I clean out my inbox from here? Well, you now have learned some really cool tips, right? Let's just quickly recap. We know that a label can be on multiple emails, right? You can have multiple labels on one email like we do on this one right here. We have 3 labels. We also know now archive by definition is clean out your inbox by removing the label, and just now it's in multiple locations, right? Depending on how many labels you have it. We also know that all mail means by definition all mail except spam and trash. We've learned some really keywords. We also learned that filters is organizes your email as it hits your inbox. So all these things can really make your life so much easier on a day-to-day basis. So now I'm hoping that many of you are like, I'm going to implement this, but now I kind of like, how do I clean out what I already have, right? One thing I would do is I would create your filters first. Get your filters created. Kind of go through your email. Because remember that apply that matching. Remember, if we do a filter, we'll just start one here. We have the option to create a filter. We have this option to apply that filter to matching conversations, right? That's going to quickly put all those labels on those past emails that you think should fall into that criteria. So that's the first thing I would do. And then I kind of got all my emails all organized. It has all these beautiful labels on there. I'm ready to go. But now I've got all these emails in my inbox. Okay. So what you can do then is you can actually go up here. This is one of the ways. You can click on that, and I would actually reduce your search, because now we're just trying to clean out our inbox, right? We want our inbox clean. So we're starting the new year with a clean inbox. We don't need to search all mail. We're trying to clean out our inbox only, right? So you reduce your search by selecting inbox. And now I hit search. Now, I would probably go back here if it is marked unread, or I probably need to look at them. So I'm going to see it. These are all the emails that I haven't marked unread. Well, all this is junk. I really don't care about it, or I need to go back and look at this, right? I could go up here, select them all, and make them unread now. I've read them in theory, right? These are all junk. That's one option. Or if I don't care, all I have to do is archive it. So you just have to narrow your search down by searching all, inbox. Okay. So I'm going to start over just again. You can do this multiple ways. It's up to you. But what you do need to do understand is you have to search where. You have to narrow your search down to your inbox to clean out your inbox. So first thing you do is reduce your search, refine your search to only search in your inbox. You can also type in inbox. And now you can decide. I would probably go down here and oops, it went away. And then narrow your search. If you want to, one thing people ask me, if they're like, how do I clean it from like a year ago? Like, I don't care anything, like wipe out 2020, right? So if it's older than a year, I can select that, right? I don't have anything in this account, but if I did, let's just reduce that. Let's say older than a month, older than a week. There we go. So I could then older than a week, please, I think maybe you don't want to do that, but older than a year, if you haven't looked at it for a year, I don't think it needs to be in your inbox, right? Just clean it out. What's the magic word then? Select. And if you have a whole bunch, you're going to get a pop-up right up here and says, do you want to select all matching criteria? And the answer is yes, you do. And then you can click the magic archive button and it's out of your inbox. So you no longer have 20,000 in your inbox. You're down to 10,000 because you cleaned out the whole year of 2020 or 2021. So the detail is to change it to in inbox. You're cleaning out your inbox, right? You have to search your inbox. Select the criteria that you want to remove it from. A lot of people like the date range. A lot of people like if it's unread or read. I don't know. You know what you're trying to clean out. Maybe you want to clean everything out from this certain group list. Just narrow your search down. One of my favorite ways, if it's any email from Trainer 5 or a particular person, or let's get the right person. Now I'm cleaning out everything in my inbox from who? Trainer 5 in the last month. Okay. And I don't think I could write that. I just went to the drop down, didn't I? And use the search chips. So use the search chips and use the drop down. This is where I wish you guys could ask questions, but if you do have questions, I do ask that you reach out to us. We'll help you out. It's a lot of information. We're more than happy to assist you. Just want to remind you, searching can be probably the most overwhelming thing. Feel free to like practice this with, obviously you're not going to have emails from trainer 5, but you can try it to search some of these criteria and just to kind of get some better practice. I've also included some other search operators, kind of some of them I've already talked about, but those are kind of the most popular ones. And then, as always, probably a plethora of resources. There are so many ways to search within Gmail, but there are some more resources for you at your fingertips. Again, the YouTube videos and the resource books for you to learn more. So there's a lot of options. So definitely the search tips have been a huge success for a lot of people. So definitely use that. One other thing I did forget to mention. Let's type in the word filter just to get me a search. You do have a refined search now. You can actually click on the from button down here. I forgot this. This is pretty new. I can actually select the person. So now you can actually go down here and select an email from that particular person. So in this case, I know I have one from trainer 5, and there it is. So these are more refined searches where you can actually look there as well and have a drop down option. And since I have more time, one of the things I do send a lot is Google Currents updates. So if you haven't signed up for Google Currents, we do post a lot of like tips and tricks such as these. All these little links that you see on this document, I've already pretty much sent them out at one time or another on our Currents page, especially any updates that have happened in the last couple of years. We always post them. They're smaller updates, obviously, but they're still going to make your life easier. We do post them on our Google Currents page. And Gmail is the highly used app. So we want you to be knowledgeable in there. But if you want, you can see we have all these different posts, tips, and tricks from other Googlers, such as Gary the Google Guy, not Googlers, but other Google users. Gary the Google Guy, Alice Keeler, things from Jolene and myself, but lots of tips and tricks. So you can always find that under tips and tricks, but you have to sign up to receive those notifications. And you can find that by join GoogleHelp-Iowa.gov. You can go right here, join the community page, and also you can find any email you've gotten from Google Iowa. We always add that at the bottom of the email. We strongly encourage users to sign up to receive these little tips and tricks and right directly in your inbox. And I promise you, I will not bombard your inbox. I only do it twice a week, trying to stay on a cadence of Tuesdays and Thursdays for you to be updated with either Google Workspace updates or tips and tricks from other Google experts. With that, again, I hope you check out the objectives. If you haven't done so, just check out the additional resources. And once this video is done rendering, and we'll post it on our Google Help training page with the objectives and the videos. With that, thank you so much for your time. And again, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to Google Iowa, or each of us individually will be more than happy to assist. Thank you, Jolene, for helping out today. And we will hope you guys have a great rest of the day.